So I'm recording this today, live action here, on Thanksgiving. And I wanted to pop on and talk to you guys because number one, I'm very grateful for you. I'm grateful there's 80 gabillion people in this world. There's 80 gabillion people on YouTube. And a few of you will tune into me, and I appreciate that very much. So first and foremost, thank you. But I wanted to jump on as I got my pumpkin spice latte to start my day, because I know some people get really lonely and stressed around these holidays. And like, I get it, right? You know, like I've kind of been there before, like when I lived in the city and I was kind of on my own. And it can feel lonely when you put this expectation around holidays. So I was like, well, let me pop on because I want to give you a different mindset around these holidays, right? I really want to give you a different mindset because a lot of times you're going to feel really like lonely, but you can feel lonely in the middle of June, right? But remember, lonely and alone are two different things, and both are able to be handled with yourself. So being alone is beautiful, right? Like you have to remember that you have to be your best company. I know it sounds cliche, but I promise you that I know my life really switched when I started really starting to like me, like the person that I was alone with, right? Because you're like, sometimes if you're alone with people and you're like, oh, that's a little awkward. Well, sometimes you're that awkward person, because sometimes you're like, oh, what do I do with myself? Like, you're almost like, what do I do? What do I do with myself? So it's learning that piece. Now, loneliness isn't something that just another human being can fill. And I know, sure, you can have the presence there. That doesn't mean that they're going to fill this void. And when you're lonely, you have to know that that's something that's missing inside of you. So that's where you want to work on it. So how does that incorporate into the holidays? So here in the US, well, I think you guys have, I know Canada had their Thanksgiving last year. Good Lord. They did that too last month. And I know everybody has their own version to celebrate. And it's really honestly just a day, right? Because if it takes one day of 365 days out of the year to be grateful, that's a problem. Like, that's a full-on problem, because you should be grateful all the time, right? And then you have this idea, you fall in love with this image because you turn on the Hallmark channel and you see, oh, we're together for the holidays. Oh my God, we love each other so much. We're breaking bread together. We're doing, okay, sure. And sometimes that's great. That's very fulfilling. Not every holiday dinner table is loving and caring and filling. It's just checking the boxes. So and like I said, I lived on I lived with roommates in my early 20s, and I was in New York, and I was in the city, and I didn't really have, my family wasn't around. Mom had passed, dad was out doing whatever. Like, it was really me, like me and my friends would sometimes, me and my roommates would sometimes, but usually they're off doing their own thing. So it was me. And so I created my own traditions. Like, I would walk up to Central Park, or I would go do something to kind of say, why am I missing? What do I feel like I'm missing out on? And it's this idea, we fantasize the idea of what love should look like from a family and from friends and from community. And while we are not an island, right? We're not an island of one where, as human beings, we do need that community, but it isn't something to force. And until you're good, that community is never going to be the right community for you, regardless if it's your mom, your dad, your brother, it doesn't matter, right? Just to say, well, they're my family. They're not. They're your relatives. Don't get that twisted. They're your relatives. They're not your family. Family can be people who are not related to you, okay? And I think it's really important for you because, like, I know probably over the last, let's say 5-10 years, Friendsgiving has been a big thing. Like, I didn't celebrate any Friendsgiving, but like, Friendsgiving is a thing, because sometimes people are like, well, I don't have family, you don't have family, let's get together and let's do Friendsgiving. And that's great. You can do that too. But if you don't have that, I don't want you to panic and be like, what's wrong with me? There's nothing wrong with you. There really isn't. There's never anything wrong with you. There's things you might want to enhance and change. And those things are important, right? For you to go ahead and really expand on that loneliness, and then realize, what is this image that you have in your head that is supposed to be around the holidays? Okay, so it's Thanksgiving. So Thanksgiving here in the United States, if you're watching this outside of the States, it is the biggest, this Thanksgiving in general is the biggest travel holiday of the entire year, because it's not a religious holiday, right? Some people don't celebrate Christmas because of the religion that's attached to it, where Thanksgiving is not a religious holiday in any way whatsoever. And so so many more people celebrate that. So Last night was Wednesday. Yes. That's called, Drunksgiving, and it's called Drunksgiving because people don't have to work Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Some people, right? Some people do have to work. But that's why they call it that. So it's this big buildup, right? It's also what you see, like I said, on Hallmark movies, on, Christmas movies, on, ads, on social media ads, on people dressing in matching Christmas pajamas. Like, it's everything that you attach the idea of what that wholeness feels like. But I promise you that you can feel it by yourself, because I've done it, and I've done it many, many years when I was younger. Now I have my husband, and my daughter lives with me, and my son came home, and a friend's coming over. But I mean, it's not, we don't make it a big deal. Like, we just kind of eat, have some wine, midday drinking, watch some football. Like, it's that, but you can do that alone. And in your head, you make it worse. Like, we do create our own suffering. I promise you we do. Because you think, well, why don't I have this? Well, why can't I have that? Why does it have to be? You don't even have to have turkey. You can say, I'm going to have tacos today. You say, you know what? I'm going to have McDonald's today. Like, you can have your own traditions. And that's really what helped me get through the holidays, right? And I feel like so many people need to hear that, because they're really just commercial holidays, and Hallmark and social media and your friends and everything make it build this up. But it's Thursday. Like today, it's Thursday. At the end of the day, it's Thursday. And I don't want you to go down that rabbit hole, because you can isolate yourself, right? As a person who did it for many, many years, the victim mentality. Why is this happening to me? Why don't I have the family? Why couldn't I have been adopted so my family would have loved me more? Like, oh my God, like I played out just about every scenario that you've ever played in your head. I have. And it's never going to serve your best and highest good. There's nothing there that is beneficial for you, and you can't change what those circumstances are, but you are exactly where you need to be today. And sometimes it's hard for people to hear that. Yeah, was it hard for me to, I mean, I didn't think about that at 14, but knowing what I know now, would I have said at 14 when I was living in a van with my dad, hey, this is where I need to be? No, I wouldn't have. But looking back on it, it gave me the resilience that I needed. It was where I needed to be. It really was. Like, you can't see it that way when you're in it, right? You can never see the benefit of where you are when you're in it. You just can't, because you're seeing it in peril and stress and depression. But at the end of the day, you are where you need to be. So as you're starting to like get through these holidays and you're starting to struggle through it, and, just like for Christmas, don't go spending all of your money on the planet. Like, I mean, like not on the planet, but like in the world. Like, don't be like, oh, I got to buy this person and I got to buy this person. I got to spend money on this. And don't do that. That's going to create more stress. And then guess who's doing it? You are. Because if they're expecting a present from you, definitely they're not your people. I really don't care what the scenario is, right? Nobody is obligated or entitled to a gift. And I just want you to let yourself off the hook a little bit. All right. So let yourself off the hook. Watch some movies. Get a bottle of wine if that's your jam. Or order DoorDash. Cuddle up by yourself. Get a cat. And just make it your day. Watch things that are going to be fun for you. Don't sit there and watch movies and then be like, I don't have that. Well, why are you watching it? You're doing that to yourself. Okay? So stop doing that. All right? Okay, I love you guys so much, and I am so grateful for anybody who tunes in to hear any of my podcasts, any of my other socials, who are my clients. Like, I am so grateful for you guys, and I do love you guys. And you're really not alone. And when you are alone, you're still not alone, because you got yourself. And baby, that is the best person to ever be with.